culinary art class. Today we're gonna do the muffin, regular muffin. Before we start with the recipe, we're gonna give you some tips for safety, how to work in a kitchen. This is very important. Safety is the most important part on a kitchen. So every time that you're gonna work, you have to wear your gloves, a mask, and cover your hair. You need to use an apron and a long sleeve jacket. Don't use short one. Short one is kind of risk, especially when you're working with hot items. If you're working in a cool area, you don't need it. But when you're working in a hot areas, it's very important that you wear long sleeves. You need 2 cloths, always on your hand, always with you. I call them my parrot because sometimes I put it here on my wrist. Sometimes I just put it here in my elbow, like a parrot. I always carry that. You need a solution with the chloride and water. 1 gallon of water and 1 tablespoon of chloride. Do not use the regular sanitizing products because they are too strong. If you use that, you could poison your food. You could poison one of your customers. So always be careful with that. Never use it. Make your solution so that you're gonna know that you're safe. Solution is good for 24 hours. So when you finish to work, you have to throw it out. The next day, you have to make a new solution. Don't save it because it doesn't gonna work. Before we start with the recipe, we're gonna warm it up a cooking unit. Today, we're gonna use a cooking center, rational. So let's gonna warm it up before we start with the recipe. We wait until the unit set up the program. As soon as we get the lights on, it means it's ready to start to work. So we press the button. So we call for what we're gonna use. Today we got muffin already set up. We're not gonna use a temperature control. We're just gonna use more light and the timing. We don't need to have a thermometer because it's not meat that requests to be medium well or medium rare. It's a muffin. Muffin always have the same temperature of cooking. Now we're gonna let them heat up. When it's ready, the alarm is gonna let us know that it's ready to bake. So now let's go back to our table to start to do our recipe. Okay, now we're back to the table. We're gonna use a recipe provided by the college. They request double size of the recipe they give it to us. They ask for 1 cup of sifted flour. When they ask for the sifted flour, you have to sift it before you measure. So I already have sifted my flour. I'm gonna make the 2 cups. I usually sift it again when I get my recipe. So when the recipe asks for a sifted flour, you have to sift it. Don't make the mistake that do it again, take it directly from the container or from the package because it's not sifted and it's gonna be compressed. So you're probably gonna end with more flour than you need. So when you have it like that, over there, and you sift it again. So you make sure the flour gets air. That's what they need to the muffin, to increase the amount of oxygen inside when you're gonna bake it. So it's gonna provide you a good spongy muffin. So we sifted one already, we're gonna sift the next one. Do you hear that? That's my rational tell me. It's ready to go. When you work in a commercial kitchens, you always have to follow those safety procedures. Okay? It's very important. And even in your home, you have to be more careful. You have kids. So your flour is ready. Now, they request baking powder, okay? This is also important. So they ask for 1 teaspoon, we're gonna add 2 because they ask for a double size. So we add that. It's gonna get ready our oven. If you don't put anything inside, they're gonna keep making noise. So we add the salt. They ask for half a TSP. So we're gonna add 1 TSP. And the sugar. They ask for 2 TSP of sugar. Okay, I got 2 here. I'm gonna make another 2 so you can learn how to do it. We grab the sugar. Always make sure it's not over level because they ask for 2 tablespoons. We're gonna add 4. So I got 2 already set. Now I got the other 2. We got all our dry ingredients ready. Now we need to start to mix it. To mix it, we're gonna use the wicks. Okay? The main thing of this is you mix all the dry ingredients on one side. Okay, you make sure they get fluffy, plenty air. Okay? And then you mix your wet ingredients. They ask for half of egg, beaten egg. So we're gonna use 1 egg. So first you beat the egg. Okay. We add the oil. They ask for 2 tablespoons of oil. So if you double, it's 4, which means 1/4 cup. Same with the sugar. So you mix it. You see how they start to emulsify. The egg starts to combine. First you do that to emulsify the oil properly, and then you add the milk. The milk is the last of the liquid that you add. Slowly you go adding it. If you add the milk first with the egg, probably you're going to have to work a little bit hard to mix with the oil. So it's better to mix the oil with the egg first. Okay? Now, when we have this ingredient, we're going to proceed to mix it with the dry ingredients. To do that, we're not going to overdo it, so we use a rubber spatula. Okay? So that's going to give you the right mixture butter that we need. So mix a little bit. Milk. Make sure the dough is properly mixed. Okay. So it doesn't have any dry crumbs inside. Okay. They start the levain process already. You could see how they start to make bubbles and they start to increase. So to don't lose the levain, we're going to transfer to the tray and we're going to get it done. But before we do that, we're going to clean a little bit nice and clean. Okay? We got the mix ready. Now we're going to get the tray. We already pushed the paper. Okay. So what we're going to do now is fill it up to the right amount that we need. So you always have to put the muffin to the top. So it should be fine when they raise. So we do the next. Same thing. Okay. Next. Make sure your mix go right to the edge of the paper cup. So then they're gonna raise nice, rounded, pretty. And have 6 beautiful muffins. Usually, I sprinkle a little bit sugar in top to give it like the crystallized, crusty. I love it. I love the muffin crispies in top and moisture inside. That is what we're looking for. So now we're going to be ready to put it in the oven. I'm just going to check my oven and I'll be right back. I'm going to put the batch in the oven. We close it. Now we have to wait 20 minutes until we get the sun again. The muffins are ready. In the meantime, we're going to clean and sanitize our areas that we worked before. White color. You can see how they raise. Nice and even. Crispy outside because the sugar in top. Alright, and it's up. Color. Make sure your oven is off. And then you put some your muffin look. This is your muffins, nice rounded, beautiful crispy.